everyone, it's Robin, R Silent Crafts, and welcome to my studio. I'm working on going through my phone and finding whatever Hurricane Ian videos that I haven't shown you yet, so you'll be seeing them after I'm done chitter-chattering. Some of them, in the beginning, the wind was so bad on the microphone, I put an external microphone on just so that you could hear me because the wind was so loud you never would have heard it over the phone, but it was a little bit crackly. After you get past that first part, the sound gets much better, mainly because I stayed inside. Also, at the end of the video, it just kind of cuts off abruptly. I don't remember what happened. I was showing you what everything looked like after the storm, mostly recording things to show if FEMA says we need to see how it looked or something before, because I wanted to make sure we got the yard all cleaned up. The kids and I did a lot of it, and then every day afterwards, I just did what I could. So it just kind of cuts off at the end. So there's nothing else after that. That was the last video I took. You'll see little glimpses of the neighbors' houses and stuff, and it looks pretty good, but most of them lost soffit. They lost shingles off the top. They lost, it's like a roof cap or something. When your roof comes up like this, and you have those two pieces of plywood that meet like this, they put some tar-like substance they put up there, and then they put like a ridge cap on so that the water doesn't get into there. And a lot of the houses lost that. Like my neighbors over here with the chain link fence, hers is actually in a ditch by the main road. I'm sorry, I'm not laughing, but I just can't believe that a big chunk of it blew off and just landed, like it came off of the house, it blew, and it landed in the same direction that it was. It's like the wind just picked it up and dropped it down and said, no, we're gonna keep it over here now. It was strange. I went and cleaned up a lot of the main road there because I didn't want things like the soffit to blow into the main road and cause any type of accidents or anything like that. Because while all the soffit wasn't mine, there was enough of mine there compared to everyone else that I didn't want it to be my fault that there was an accident. I recorded all the way up to, there's one video I think I said it's something like 11 o'clock in the morning, and then after that the cats and I hunkered down. We have a tiny little guest bathroom here. Well, everything in this house is little actually, but we have a little guest bathroom. There's no outside walls and no windows, so we stayed in there from a little after 11:30, whatever it was, until we lost power around 3:30 or 4 p.m. At that point, it was too hot in there, it was too dark in there, so I took the cats and myself and we went into what is now the cat's room that used to be my daughter Miranda's room. It has two outer walls, but it has no windows, and it's at the back of the house. So during all the time that the worst of the storm is going on, it's coming from the front of the house, so it wasn't too bad to be back there until the storm reversed, and then the wind came in from the west, and then it wasn't fun. It was never fun. It was scary the entire time. It took several days for all of us. I've talked to many people when I'm just going around town and going to like food distributions and talking to different people who went through this hurricane. And it took us 4 or 5 days just to relax enough that the storm had everyone just so tight and wound up. For days afterwards, I would go to like scratch or something and be like, ow, all my muscles had been so tense for so long that just touching me anywhere, it was so painful. Justin and I, we were swapping injuries because, you know, I've got a bruise here and a bruise there. We've got scrapes there and cuts there. Got a little bit of a bump there. You know, he got sunburn on his shins. It just was so much going on before, during, and after that we all have all these battle wounds, and none of us can remember where they came from because we were all just too tightly wound at that time and too stressed out, which it's a couple weeks later. I'm still not quite back to normal. It was a lot to go through. Miranda had also taken some video from their house, so I included that in there also, and I just put down below, that's the kids' house. She was showing me how strong the winds were there and how high the water had come up because they had actually had the storm surge. Now, I had rain. You'll see I had rain in my yard and stuff, what we call flooding. And I know it's not like what I see in like Missouri when houses float away. This is the first time we've ever been flooded to the point that houses actually floated away. I've never seen that in this area before. And I've lived here for 40 years. Once the internet comes up, if you guys want to just do a live crafting day where I work on something and we chat about the hurricane, I can talk for a very long time about what happened because this storm lasted forever. So we hunkered down into Miranda's room at 3:30, and the wind, even before, when we were in the bathroom, about every 30 minutes I would have to come out. Every window in the house leaked. Now, they don't leak normally on a rainy day. It rained yesterday pretty hard. We got about an inch of rain. It's going to rain for most of today, Thursday. They're expecting another couple inches of rain, which is really horrible for those people that haven't gotten their houses tarped yet, or the ones that don't have houses or roofs and they're just trying to save what they can. Having this is what we get just before we get a little, we call it like a Florida fall front. It's not a cold front. The temperatures drop a little bit, but it doesn't actually get cold. And it always rains before it happens. So this is normal October weather, but you normally have a roof over your house when it happens. So while we were hunkered down in the bathroom, like I said, about every 30 minutes I would have to come out. The water, it broke one of my windows in the front in the living room, and it had, I don't know, maybe like a nickel size hole, just a little bit of a hole in the window. And the water was just like a garden hose, just kind of pouring in there. So I had to put a bunch of, I've been working, I've got both of my sewing machines out. I've been working pretty hard. I've got stacks of coin pouches and zipper pouches that I've been working on. I got 15 of each getting ready. Once they're finished, they'll go into the Etsy shop. I found some really fun fabrics. So you guys will see these in an upcoming video. It just takes up a lot of room. But anyway, I would be running out and it was pouring, the water was pouring all around, all four sides of the front door. It was pouring in the window right next to it. So I was just taking whatever I can find. I started out with all the towels. I have what I call, poop towels. So if maybe you get a leak in the kitchen faucet or the kids' toilet, the handle sometimes would get stuck and they wouldn't catch it. And it was like once every 6 months it would get stuck and the toilet would just keep running and running and flood the bathroom. So I had junky towels for that. So I put those there. I had towels in all of the windows. Then it just kept coming. So every half hour I would have to come, I'd run out of the safety of the bathroom, wait for the wind to die down to, I don't know, maybe just 100 miles an hour versus 150 miles an hour. Crazy storm. So I would just pull all the towels out, make a pile of them, just kind of pull them away from the window as like a dam or something, and I put new ones down. I used towels, I used hand towels, I used sheets, I used blankets, I had a hoodie. I found some clothes I was going to give to Goodwill, so I had like Rob's old flannel pajama pants. I put them down there. Many of you know I like to lay down old t-shirts to where the cats lay on the furniture, so when I want to sit on the furniture I can just remove the t-shirt and there's no hair anywhere. I don't have to worry about any kind of stains or fur stuck anywhere. So I took all of their t-shirts and I was piling them down and tucking them into windows and stuff. It was crazy. I counted 60 t-shirts that I put out on the clothesline. You'll have seen a picture of that on my Patreon page. It was crazy. I had so many towels. I think I probably had like 8 towels or something, plus many of the things that I just threw away. The stuff that was going to go to Goodwill, I just went ahead and threw it away. So that's what I was doing. About every 30 minutes, 20 minutes, I would run out, change them really quick, and then the wind would pick up, and then I would run back to safety. And then I wait a little while when the wind calmed down just a little bit as it's going through its cycle. I swear, it felt like a tornado was sitting in my front yard and the wind was just going like this. And it was just hitting and hitting and hitting. So you don't see any footage because after that we were hiding in the bathroom, hunkering down, and then we went into the bedroom so that I could at least put a little lantern and have some light. I did work on, I finished one knit dishcloth and I worked halfway through another one. I just had to have something to do for my hands other than just listening to the storm. Because by then, I had no cell phone. I had no way of communicating with anyone. I didn't know that the storm had dropped down to about 3, 4, 5 miles per hour, and that something that was supposed to be done by 2, 3 o'clock was still going bad at 11 o'clock. The wind machines to check the speed and everything, they broke in this area because 2 miles away is a local high school that has the weather things there, and that broke after 110 miles an hour. I found out afterwards that this area was getting 150 to 155 mile an hour winds for hours and hours and hours. I've never been in a storm that has lasted over 12 hours. Because when I finally let the cats out and the kids were settled down and they knew they weren't going to flood and everyone was safe where they were, it was like 10:30 at night. They had curfews out and everything. which doesn't mean cars weren't driving by, but I was finally able to go out and at least hit my roof with a flashlight to make sure it was still there. Because I kept checking out the windows. Do I see my roof anywhere? Okay, no, it must still be on top of my house. Unless, you know, some roofs just picked up, there'd be like a roof in someone's backyard and they're like, yeah, that's from my neighbors 5 houses down. Talk about scary. So by the time everything settled down a little bit and the winds were more like 85 miles an hour, which is more like a tropical storm. And I know that's scary to many people, but we get tropical storms every year. 85-mile-an-hour winds, while scary and dangerous, you kind of get used to things after a while. You guys have what you have. You have your ice storms, you have your blizzards, you have your scary, scary tornadoes that just show up out of nowhere. At least with a hurricane, we know a week in advance, but we don't always know that it's going to get this big and slow down and be as powerful as it was. It was just a few miles below a Category 5, and that's the highest category they have for hurricanes. So there's a little rambling. I didn't do anything other than what you saw because when it was finally over, it was too dark out. We had no power. And I wasn't going to sit there in my room and say, oh, guys, it's scary. I can't show you anything but my face. That's very, very scared. So let me just tell you how scared I am because can you hear the winds? It's scary. You guys don't want to see that. Or maybe you do, but you're not going to get that because there was no way I could do that. So I don't want to say enjoy what's coming up, but here's what I have and what videos I have. And that's about it. Eventually the kids and I know Miranda and I will go out to Pine Island and we may go out to Sanibel and just see, especially out in Pine Island, see what's left of our memories. But right now the island is only for people who live there and I would never go out there and, you know, like record videos of the worst day in someone's life. I can't do that. You can see it on the news, you can see it online. Other people have done it, so people have drones and stuff and they've gone out there, but I won't go out there. They're starting to get their power back. That's always a good thing. Anytime you can get just a little bit of normalcy back, it is so helpful. So here you go. And then next week, we'll see what happens. I actually had my internet back today. Well, they told me my internet was back. CenturyLink sent me a text message and said, hey, your internet's back. So I did the whole thing where you unplug the modem and plug it back in with zero hopes that it would work. And I was right, it didn't work because they found out after they got a whole bunch of people hooked up that there was still something wrong with some wires somewhere on their end. So they're still working on that. And they think by 7 p.m. tonight, but we'll see. I'm not going to trust it. And once it comes back on, I won't trust that it's going to stay on. So many people have gotten internet back and lost internet. They've got their power back and they lost the power. I'm just going to go minute by minute and day by day. Sound like a car backfired. That startled me. But I've got all of my pouches to work on. Let me show you one. Oh, I can't show you anything. They're all sewn up. Maybe. Oh, here's one. Someone sent me this little scrap of these silly little pink colorful piggies on here. So I decided this was the whole piece of scrap that I had that it's going to turn into a zipper pouch. So I also have this really pretty fabric. These tropical flowers. It is part of my little flamingo collection that I have going. And I didn't want to use, there was a good yard of it and I just wanted to share a little bit with you guys. So you have a little bit of this to go with what's going to eventually be some of my flamingo projects. So I'll let you guys get to the video and I am going to get back to sewing. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for putting up with me. Thanks for listening to my rambles and I'll see you guys later.
Hey everyone, it's Robin, RS Island Crafts. Welcome to my hurricane. This is a Wednesday morning at 4 a.m. I've been up for about a half an hour. It's hard to think. Sorry, words are bad already this morning. It's too early. I'm not awake. It's hard to think, but when I came out here at 11:30, there's a little bit of water, as you can see here. And I can see down in this area here, it's all wet and soggy and the road's wet and everything. But at 11:30 when I went to bed last night, that water was actually deeper there. There, you can see some of the puddle there. And you can see and hear the wind. I try to protect my microphone from the wind a little bit. But you can see how it is. Oh, this metal right here, this is where I was growing my cucumbers and stuff, and it's for my blackberries, just if anyone's curious. I'm always curious when I see things. So there's Rob's hibiscus. It is way too heavy for me to move. You just kind of cross your fingers and hope for the best. It's like 79 degrees, but I'm actually shivering because of the cool rain. You can see the rain coming down in front of my phone. There's the neighbor's coconut palm and how it's blowing there. Let me see. Their area, their little drainage, you can see that shimmering right there. That is the road and stuff like that, but there's a whole bunch of water right in there from the storm. And don't worry, I'm not going to be coming out here much more, because as you guys have been watching my weather station, you guys know that we are basically, it's considered a direct hit for us, whether it's in Port Charlotte, and I've heard from a few guys who are in that area. So if you can hear me, hunker down, people, hunker down. This is going to be a bad one. Sorry, my hands are shaking. I'm cold. So I'm going to go inside real quick, but I just wanted to give you the 4 a.m. update. I usually get up at 5:30 anyway, so there's just no sense going back to sleep. Having the street lights and everything right here has been great, because I can look out my window. My bedroom is on the side of the house over here, so I can look out and see those street lights and everything and watch that tree right there to get an idea of what's going on. Alright, I'm going to go back in. I'll check in with you guys again when the sun comes up. And at that point, that'll probably be the last one that I can do outside. And after that, we'll be looking through a window. This is 7:30 in the morning. We're just starting to see like tropical storm force winds. I'm sure you can hear the rain hitting the window. This is the front of the house. This is actually my crumb curtain window. This is the part of the house that gets hit the first and the hardest. So we have what we call Lake Lalone, because that is my last name, in case you didn't know. And then I can't open my front door. The wind is just too strong. You physically can't open it, plus you don't want to. So there you can see the driveway. It's up to that first crack line that I showed you. The road isn't flooded as of yet. There's a little sheet of water on it, but I don't see like standing water. The big main road looks good. Everything looks good so far in this area, of course. The other areas do have a lot more water. There are places that flood. I think they said that we're going to start seeing the hurricane force winds around 10 a.m. and it should last until about 2 in the afternoon. And then that's when the worst of the storm surge is supposed to hit. I have to say, the winds is what scares me the most. The winds is the scariest part. Sorry, wobbles. That is the area that I am most concerned with, because that is the winds and tornadoes is the first thing that's going to cause damage to my house. And that's something I've seen, not tornadoes, but we've seen wind damage and stuff before. And I don't want to have that issue. Nobody wants to have that issue, of course. Storm surge, I've never seen it here. So, 40 years, if you don't have storm surge in this area, you kind of hope that you're not going to have it. But we'll see. And the winds are picking up again. "7:48 a.m. in the backyard. There's my neighbor's trees that I showed you. And we got a reflection against the glass, but it kind of gives you an idea. You can see I already have standing water there. And that's all water right there.
This is like the lull in between the little waves. So there's my water there and my water there. So if it looks like this right now, I'm guessing the side yard should be okay. All right, it's now 10:35. They keep bumping it up a little bit further, well, I should say further away when the actual worst of the winds are gonna hit. It's been hitting hard enough as it is. They're saying that the water is receding from like the different water places, the Gulf and everything. And it's kind of interesting because I have less water too. I mean, I'm not a Gulf or waterway or anything like that, but there is less water in my front yard. It could simply be because it's less rain right now, but it sure sounds like the same amount, and the wind is scary. Every now and then it just sounds so loud. At one point it sounded like, well, like the garbage trucks were coming by, that loud. It was weird. Let's go look at the backyard. I can't open my front door and we are looking through a screen. This is what the winds are looking like in the backyard. The back neighbors, they lost one of their big papaya trees. If you've seen it on Instagram, I put a picture up. Oh, I can see some of my shingles in the backyard. There's a couple shingles back there. That's okay, that's okay. Oh, nope, there's 3 or 4 of them. Shingles are okay. There's some of my soffit. Okay. Nope, that's fine, as long as we still have a roof and windows and walls. Okay, it's 11 a.m. Oh, I don't know what just flew by. Looked like a bird almost. A lot of the water has been sucked back out. So once the storm actually hits, it'll be blown back in, and that's where the storm surge comes from. It is noisy and scary sounding. The palm fronds are actually blowing sideways and level with the ground like. Those palm fronds, they're old and they're, you know, they're brown and everything and need to come down, and yet over 50-mile-an-hour winds and they're still up there. It's crazy. Rob's hibiscus is doing good. It still has all its leaves. Oh, it lost a flower, but they only last 24 hours anyway, so that's not a surprise. Wow. Over here, there's actually, over here you can actually see grass, and that was all flooded all the way up to about here. When the eye comes through, I'm gonna go outside and just do a quick little video for you guys. It is perfectly safe as long as I do a quick one and I don't stay out for very long, just to show you guys the difference. And sometimes you actually have a blue sky with white puffy clouds. Sometimes birds get caught in the eye and they just ride inside the storm for hours and hours, the poor birds. It's just like everything seems calm and normal and like it's over, but you have to be careful because it's not over. The worst part of the storm comes after the eye. What's today? Thursday, the September 28th, 2022?
29th.
29th? You know what's going through my head? You know the best way to deal with when you have wobbly photos? To put them on fast forward so you don't see the wobble as much. So I lost the door to my mailbox.
Robbie and I, when we walked away, we kept shutting people's mailbox doors.
Well, that's what I figured. I'm like, oh, look, my mailbox door isn't even open. It must be good. I was going to get a new mailbox anyway. It was on my list, you know? Yeah, so the hose. I was really surprised. I guess the AC, you know, covered it enough.
Some people like lost their ACs.
I was really worried about it. I don't know if that's covered under my warranty, you know? I don't know. If your air conditioner blows away, is it covered underneath your extended warranty? Brown. That must be from their house. Because I don't know who else has brown.
Yeah,
It's not Charlotte. Where?
oh, that?
The metal.
No, oh.
Yeah. Want a shower cap? Yeah, this just, that's probably an issue with the telephone thing there too. And all of these, we usually have two of them hanging. I guess the orange one just looks loose.
Orange is loose. See the rest around.
Yeah. I like those roofs that have like the 5 different colors of shingles.
Yeah.
It's kind of what my roof looks like right now.
I just wanted known that we did good laying shingles after Charlie.
Yeah, I was thinking you guys did good. In that front corner, I could hear it bouncing up. I lost the soffit, but I didn't lose, you know, water didn't come in like it did with Charlie or anything like that. Yeah, I don't know whose tree this is, but it's not mine. They might be able to save those papaya if they brace them soon.
Yeah.
Look at what the storm did, because that it just peeled the paint right off of it. This window, this side of the house is just plastered with the insulation.
Yeah. A shingle came and smacked the front window. I thought it cracked. So just covered for a break it.
Yeah, that was scary.
The shingle, it's okay.
You need to you're gonna have to contact your rental agency soon,
Yeah.
and also let them know that the house didn't have shutters, because you can get in trouble for not putting shutters up.
That's what I'm gonna tell them. Like, hey,
Party. Yeah.
you have shutters.
Yeah, I thought for sure